Hey everybody, I've got a interesting question for you today. So I'm Lee Blue, the founder of DoubleStack, and I help web designers build six-figure businesses that you can run out of your house. But the question for today is, should you offer training services for your web design clients? Like, it's a really common thing for, like, I'll talk to web designers and they'll be like, well, not all of my clients can afford a $5,000 website. Or maybe they'll say, not everybody even needs a $5,000 or $10,000 website. So what can we do? And so one of the things that often comes up will be, well, maybe what we can do is we can build like a shell of a WordPress site and provide training, and then the client can put in all the content and do all the things once they kind of have the foundation in place. Like, for example, you'll put together like the standard 5-page WordPress site where you like set up the site, do the, pick a good theme, all of that stuff, and then just kind of hand the shell over to the client, and then provide a couple hours worth of training to, hey, Jim, good to see you. I almost called you my son. I meant to say my friend. so, so wouldn't it be cool to be able to kind of create that shell of a website and then hand it to the client? Then they're responsible for putting in all the copy and the, all the things, all the edits and everything. So the benefits of all of that are, you are able to get something in your client's hands right off the bat. Like, you don't have to wait for copy. Probably only take you a couple of minutes to put it all together. You could probably do the whole site and everything in about an hour. Give yourself 3 or 4 hours of time to train the client. You're in it for about 5 hours, charge about $500. You're making $100 an hour. Seems like a pretty profitable thing to do kind of right off the bat. So I've been called worse, Jim says. That's funny. So so that kind of helps. You're offering services that are kind of at a competitive price, and that's kind of helpful too, I guess, right? So if people are looking at you and be like, well, I don't have the kind of budget to spend $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever, but $500 seems pretty good, and that's a pretty competitive price. That kind of is a good deal. But should you do it? Like, is this even a good idea? Like, why offer these types of things? Because if you're going to do that, you have to ask yourself, is that really going to hit the goals that you have? And so there's some questions that this immediately raises. For example, can you hit your revenue goals by training your clients and selling $500 websites? Like, is that a thing that you can do to hit your goals? And we'll take a look at that in a second. Another question that comes up just kind of right off the bat is this the best way to serve your clients? Is that the best way to go? Like, are there alternatives that might be better than just building a WordPress site and training them? Is that the best way to serve your clients? Are you offering good value? Which is another thing. It's like building a standard 5-page site and kind of handing that shell over and training the client how to build their own site. Is that good value or is it not? And so let's take a look at that. And then the last question is, are your clients going to get the results that they really want? If this is the path that you're putting them down, do you feel like that's going to help them get to where they need to be? And so let's kind of look at all of those questions, because before you jump into thinking, this is, hey, Ralph, good to see you. Hey, Shannon, good to see you too. It's before you kind of jump into offering these types of things, we need to answer those questions to make sure that we have integrity and that we're putting our clients in a position where they can be successful and all this is going to work out. And so, right off the bat, we think we're solving some problems, by setting up a website, having like a $500 kind of budget behind it, offering some training. You're solving some problems in terms of price. You don't have to wait for content. You're going to be there to support your customer if they need it, that kind of stuff. And maybe even you'll make some money off the hosting. Like, another thing that people will say is, as long as I can get the clients coming in, then I can charge for the hosting, and then that's some recurring revenue I've got coming in. And we can talk about, that. Well, I'll just tell you right off the bat, you're not going to make any money off the hosting. So, I don't mean to spoil anything, but it's like, come on, it's like, what are you going to charge for hosting? $20, $25 a month, something like that. And then of course it costs you something too, to actually do the hosting. And so, hey, good to see you too, McRae. Gotta drink of water real quick. And so then you think to yourself, well, what am I going to do with the hosting, right? So like, you're going to have to do backups and technical updates and clear out comment spam and, all the different things, WordPress have checked to make sure that the updates didn't break anything. all of that stuff is kind of in the mix. Plus you're paying somebody to actually host the site. You have to host it somewhere. So there's cost involved. And like, what are you going to do? You're going to do the backups, the comment spam cleaning out, checking out the updates to make sure they didn't break anything, making sure you got offsite backups, all that stuff. And we're going to do that for like $15 a month. It's like the hourly rate on that is just horrible. And so, so if all you're offering is just kind of competitively priced hosting, that's not going to get you where you want to be. But sometimes people will say that, which is why I'm mentioning it now. It's like, hey, if I just had clients and if I had enough clients and I could get the hosting. So then you have this big idea. It's like, is offering to train your clients on how to manage and build sometimes and even manage their own websites and their own marketing and so forth, is that gonna be where you want to be? And so right off the bat, let's talk about the big questions that we need to answer, which are, are you going to be able to hit your revenue goals? Is this the best way to serve your clients? Are you offering good value? And will your clients get the results that they're really looking for? So let's talk about hitting your revenue goals, because that's obviously, if you can't hit your revenue goals, then what's the point of doing it at all in the first place? And will this do that? So let's take a look at it. So let's say you want to make $100,000 a year. Let's say that is the revenue goal. And so what that means in terms of monthly revenue, you're bringing in a little north of about $8,500, $8,500 per month. And that'll get you just over the $100,000 per year mark. And let's say that's where you want to be. And that you want that to be like your full-time job. You're going to spend about 40 hours a week. You would like to bring in $8,500 per month at least in terms of the gross revenue. And that's let's set that as our revenue goal, because I think most of us would feel like that's pretty good. And so now you're thinking, okay, well, in this model that we just talked about where you're offering training, like, you and me, we can probably put together a website like this in under an hour. Like, you can spin up a WordPress site, put the standard 5 pages in place, make sure there's a pretty good theme in place. Jim says $100 million. Yes, that's the ultimate goal, Jim. Absolutely. I love the way that you always think big. So, but for the sake of this conversation, let's call it $100,000 a year, kind of running your own web design business. And so you think, okay, well, this model that we kind of laid out, where we're building this 5-page site that you can spin up in about an hour, which gives you, 3 or 4 more hours to kind of put into a 5-hour project that you charge $500 for. And then your client now has this website that they can, populate and use for their business. Does that meet our needs? And kind of right off the bat, we're kind of thinking, yeah, maybe it does, right? Like $100 an hour, 5-hour project, $500. That seems pretty good. And so if we want to make $8,500 per month, you're looking at about 22 hours per month, something like that. If you were kind of making $85 per hour, something like that, or $100 an hour, and you needed to get 85 hours into the month, and you're thinking, well, that's about 22 hours per week. So it's basically a part-time job. It's like a little bit more than half of your 40-hour work week would go into actually doing the work. So you think, okay, so far it's looking pretty good, right? So it's, okay, well, we've got these projects, it's affordable, and it's only going to take about 22 hours per month to do all of this, which means that it's, 22 hours per week, about 85 hours per month to do everything. And so it's kind of shaping up, because that's only about half of your 40-hour work week, which means that you can spend the other half of your work week kind of drumming up some leads. So then we think, well, how many leads does it take? Well, if you're going to have $500 come in per client and you want to get to like 8,500, that's going to be 17. So you're going to need 17 clients over the month to be able to hit that $8,500 goal, which will put you into the 6 figures. So then you're thinking, well, 17 clients per month. Well, what does that mean per week? You're looking at about 4 to 5 clients per week in order to get, assuming there's 4 weeks out of the month. I guess technically was at 4.25 clients per week in order to get, so you're looking at 4 or 5 clients, basically a client per day, with a few days off, maybe you didn't land a client every single day, but most days you land at least 1 client. So that's kind of where you need to be in terms of lead generation and client acquisition to kind of get this type of business into the 6-figure realm. And so then you think, okay, well, we need to close a lead just about every day of the week. And then you think, well, what's my close rate? Like, how many clients do I need to talk to get one person to work with me? And what if it's 25%? That's pretty high. It's pretty good. So then you think, okay, well, how many leads do I need in order to get the 17 clients over the course of the month? And you're really looking at about 100. You need about 100 leads per month, something like that. Maybe not quite 100, 20 to 25 leads per week, at a close rate of about 25%, and that'll kind of get you there. And so then you think, okay, well, how much time do I have to do that? Like how much time do I have to talk to all my clients and do my other things? Because 22 hours of the week are going into actually building these $500 sites. So if you need to talk to somewhere between 20 to 25 leads per week, you're thinking you've got about 1 hour, no more. You have 1 hour max to talk to every single one of those leads. And if you could do that, that seems like you could fit it all in. But then you think, well, how much time does it take to actually generate that many leads? And like, what about, what, do I have to run ads? Do I have to set up a funnel? Like, where do I get 20 leads per week or whatever to come through? And so then it begins to unwind a little bit, because you think, well, I don't have any time to do that. And then if you have to spend money on ads to generate that many leads, well, that sort of exacerbates the problem, because now you need more leads to pay, you need more than 17 clients, because 17 clients at $500 per client gets you to $8,500 per month, assuming there's no cost, right? So you have to ask yourself, well, can you generate 20, 25 leads per week for free? Probably not. And even if you could, it would take some time. And then you're like, well, how much time do I have to talk to the clients? And things begin to really unwind in terms of the lead generation aspect of all of this. So on one hand, and I think the reason why people kind of get sucked into the concept is because you're like, well, okay, $500 sites, affordable, pretty good, making $100 an hour, just, giving people a site to use and all that stuff, that seems pretty good. But when you begin to kind of pull back the layers and kind of look at the details, you begin to see it doesn't really pan out the way that you want, because of really two reasons. Lead generation, it's just too much work. It's assuming that you're one or two people, right? Like if you're a huge agency and you can really like take advantage of economies of scale and all that other stuff, maybe it's a different story. But if it's just you, or maybe you and one or two or three other people, it's really, really, really hard to generate 20, 25 leads per week, especially for free, right? So then ads get into the mix, and you think, well, how much do I have to spend in ads? And then what does that mean in terms of more clients that you'd otherwise have to get to pay off the ads, plus get the income that you want? And so you'll just never get anywhere near six figures with this model, because lead generation, cost of ads, and time, basically all of that stuff doesn't add up to where you really want to be. And the truth is, from my experience, people that are kind of running this kind of low ticket, high volume web design business, you make about 35 grand a year. I mean, that's just what I've seen. In terms of how many leads you can generate and all that other stuff, most of your time is non-billable time. Like most of the time you're not filled. Like you don't have enough clients to be full. And so you tend to make about 35 grand a year. That's kind of how it is. So if you want to get to, $70, $80, $100,000 per year, I don't believe that's the model that's going to get you there, because of everything we just talked about. But then let's ask another question. Well, is this even the best way to serve your clients? Like, would it be in their best interest to do this sort of a thing? And again, I don't think the answer is yes, because WordPress is just not as user-friendly for people who want to run their own websites. It's like Wix is, or Squarespace, for example. I mean, like the whole point of Wix is to be able to get a small business owner to build their own website and get everything online. And then on top of that, somebody is going to have to deal with the technical stuff that goes into keeping a WordPress site healthy, right? Like doing the plugin updates, doing the WordPress updates themselves. Sometimes themes need to get updated as well. There's going to be comment spam. There's going to have to be, hosting and backups and the security that goes into the server itself. And like, there's all of these things that have to be taken care of by somebody. And if it's not you, because you just handed the site over to the client, how are they don't know how to do anything. And so then all this technical debt piles up in the sense of plugins that need to be updated, and everything just kind of unwinds from there. And it's like, you don't have to deal with any of that stuff on Wix. It's like Wix has all of that stuff kind of bundled into the mix. So basically what I'm telling you is, like, clients on a small budget, they should just go to Wix, right? It's like, why, like, what can you offer in WordPress for $500 with an hour of your development and a few hours of your training that wouldn't be better on the Wix platform? It's like, I just don't think that the value is there. I don't think it's the best way to serve your clients. And so that begins to, then let's dig into the value aspect a little bit more. It's like, okay, well, I don't think you'll be able to hit your revenue goals. it's probably not the best way to serve the clients in general. And then let's take a look at the value. Like, I don't know if you've looked at Wix recently, but it's not bad for people who only have a tiny budget, or specifically even the results that they might not. Maybe they just need just a quick link to just say I exist or whatever, for a link for their business card or whatever. Maybe they're not really into online client acquisition. But like, look at the overall value of what Wix is. There's like over 500 like design templates. They're all mobile friendly. Wix definitely offers a better drag and drop experience for non-techies, for people that don't know what's going on, than WordPress does, which is why Wix exists in the first place. They'll give you, everything's mobile friendly. All the designs that come out of the box are ready to roll for a mobile experience. They'll give you a free domain name. They throw in like $300 of like ad vouchers. Like if you want to run Google ads to your site or something, they obviously provide all the tech stuff, like the hosting, the backups, the updates, the security. All of that's bundled into the mix. They've got 24/7 support, and the price is $17 a month. You get all of that, including the $300 of ad vouchers, for $17 a month. And if you bump up to like their $22 package, they'll even throw a logo in for free. So it's like, and you get a 14-day money back guarantee. It's like, so how can working with a WordPress developer who's spitting up, like a kind of an empty 5-page design with one theme, mind you, because if the client decides they want to change themes later, then you got to do all that stuff again. So they're kind of locked into everything. You're not giving them a $300 ad voucher. You're not giving them a free domain name. If you are, you're eating into your $500. It's like, the value is much higher on Wix for somebody who wants a small website. And so if you feel like you're just offering a cheap website that the client can then build on their own, you should just send them over to Wix. I mean, it's really, really hard to compete with that. And you shouldn't even be competing with that. Because here's the other thing. Are your clients really going to get the results that they need out of a site like that? And if the answer is yes, then send them to Wix and they get the results, right? Like, that's where they should be. That's where the value is. It's going to be easier for them. They've got more flexibility. They can do it themselves. They don't have to worry about the backups. You're not on the hook 24/7 for support. They've got $300 to apply to ads that you're not providing to them. And so what about the results, right? So here's the thing. This is going to be a little bit of a kick in the knee, sort of a comment. But I really do mean it. It's like, if you feel like you can take all of your experience and then train somebody else how to do everything that you can do in about 3 hours, what are you doing? Where's the value in that? Are you telling me that all the experience that you have building websites, doing all this stuff, you can train somebody who has no idea how to do anything? You can train somebody who's like a landscaping expert or a dental person, a dentist expert, or somebody who has no idea how to build websites or do digital marketing or any of that stuff. Somebody coming at it from scratch. You can train them how to be you in 3 hours? No, what are you talking about? You can't do that. I mean, I would assume that you would think to yourself, well, I'm not telling them all the stuff that I know how to do. I'm just showing them how to do a bare minimum. I know how to get just their site going or something like that. And so then I'm thinking, okay, well, if you're not giving them everything that they need to be successful, are you just setting them up to fail? Or, what do you mean? And then you might be thinking, well, they said they didn't have the budget for, a $500, anything other than a $500 site. So they didn't hire me to do more. So I'm not really setting them up to fail. I'm just kind of putting them in a place where maybe they'll upgrade to some more of my stuff later. And I don't think that's offering the right value to the client. Because, I mean, $500, seriously, $500 will get you a Wix site for 2.5 years, right? It's like it's almost 2.5 years. It's like $17 a month. Divide that into your $500. It's like you could have put them on a platform that they could run for 2.5 years for the same price they just paid you to set everything up one time and give them a few hours of training. And they're still going to be on the hook for probably $15 to $20 a month for hosting anyway, right? If they're doing it with you. So it's like, where's the value in that? And where are the results going to be? Like, wouldn't it be better to say, hey, forget about the $500, add that to the $300 ad, gift that you get from signing up at Wix. So now you got $800 of ads. and just get on the ball for $17 a month over at Wix, and like that's gonna get you what you need. You can update your own site. You don't have to worry about security. You've got 24/7 support. All of the backups are taken. You don't have to do anything except for just run your site. So it's like, so then you think, okay, well, what if the clients that I work with, they don't have a budget for anything over $500? Well, that's a marketing problem, right? That's not your fault. It's not their fault either. It's the way that you're communicating what it is you do. And so the real solution to this is not to take people who should be on Wix and put them into WordPress with kind of a 5-page shell of a website and then hope they can do things on their own when you know that they're not going to be able to. The real solution to this is shift the way that you find and attract clients so that you're actually finding clients who need results. And that's the whole point. Like if you find that you're attracting clients and they don't really need results, then send them over to Wix where they're not going to get any results, right? But yet they still have a platform where they can have a site, and if anybody asks or whatever, they can send them there, and maybe they have a quick contact form or whatever. It's like my daughter's piano teacher. I had this conversation with her a couple years ago. She was, hey, my daughter was like, hey, my dad, you can build you a website or whatever. We talked for a minute. I was like, hey, you don't need a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 website for your piano lessons. It's like, just go over to Wix. You can build your own site in an afternoon and you'll be done for $17. And it's like, just do that, right? Because she didn't need results. She doesn't get clients because of her website. She gets clients through different referrals and different music schools and the stuff that she's involved with. So it's like, don't find clients like that. Find clients that need results and the types of results that you can generate online. Like help them get more calls on the calendar, more leads coming through the door, help them grow their revenue through online marketing. Like find clients that need those types of results. Don't find clients that are just looking for a cheap website. Because if you find that the clients are coming to you because they think you offer cheap websites, you're going to be stuck charging the price of cheap websites, which is going to be $500 or less, right? Otherwise, they should go to Wix. What you want is clients that are going to come to you because of the results you generate. Like, hey, when I start working with McRae, when I start working with Julia or whatever, then I'm suddenly going to be making an extra $100,000 a year that I wasn't making before I contacted Julia. And like, how much is $100,000 worth? I mean, that's probably worth 10 or 15 grand, right? It's like, if you can generate those types of results for people, then you can charge dramatically higher rates, like 10 times what everybody else is charging, maybe 20 times, the cost of these other projects. And that's where you want to be, because then you think to yourself, well, how many of these $15,000 clients do I need in order to hit my income goals? And you're like, well, what if I had 4? That'd be $5,000 a month. That'd be $60,000 if each client was worth 15 grand for you. And so then you think, well, how long does it take to find 4 clients? I mean, what if you found a client a month? Just one client per month? Because just a few minutes ago, we were talking, well, how many clients do you need at this $500 price point? And we were talking big numbers, right? We were talking like, what did we say? I think we were talking about 17 clients per month, and that would be about 4 or 5 clients per week. And that meant that you were needing to generate somewhere between 20 to 25 leads every week. Compare that to, I just need 1 client a month. And if I could do that for 4 months, I'd add $5,000 per month to my overall revenue. I'd be at 60 grand a year. And you think, well, what if I had 8, right? Like, what about 8 clients? Well, now you're at $120,000 a year. You're higher than 100. That's more, significantly more than we just talked about, 20% more than what we just talked about, off of 8 clients. And then you think, well, how long does it take to get 8 clients? What if you got a client per month for 8 months? Then there you are. There's your 8 clients, and that's your 6-figure, well into the 6-figure web design business off of 8 clients. And that's the whole concept behind what we do at DoubleStack, which is how do we find those types of clients for you? Because if you're watching this and you're thinking, like I'm thinking, that I'm worth more than a 5-page website and 3 hours of training, like if you feel like that you can't duplicate yourself in 3 hours of training a complete novice, which I don't think anyone here believes that you can take a complete novice in a real estate investor or a chiropractor or mobile auto detailing service guy, or you can't take those types of people and turn them into you with a 5-page WordPress shell and 3 hours of your training, right? Like that's why you're here. So the point is, how do you get the clients who are relying on you for results, and then generate those results, and then you will be seen in the value of those results. You don't want people to value you based on the tools that you deliver. You want people to value you based on the results, right? In the same way, like if you went to the doctor, you wouldn't pay the doctor based on what the tools they use to fix your broken leg would cost. You'd pay them for the results of being able to walk again, right? That's really why you're there. And that's the idea behind finding these better clients. You want to find clients who need results. And if the clients don't need results, then just send them over to Wix, because that's the thing that you would do to provide the most integrity and authenticity in your business. Be like, hey, you don't need to hire me for something like this. Let me just point you over to this other platform. And for what you thought you were going to pay me for just setting up your site, you can run your site for 2 or 3 years. It's like, you'll be fine over there. And then focus your attention on landing clients who need results, who want to generate an extra $100,000 a year with their marketing and feel like they're serious enough about their business to invest a little bit in the process. Because basically all you're asking them to do is spend somewhere around 10 to 15% of their gross revenue working with you on their marketing. And that's about half of what they ought to be spending on their marketing, right? It's like I spend about 21, little over 20% of my gross revenue to market my business. And so if you're looking for a client that wants to be generating about $100,000 a year, and you're saying, hey, it's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000 to do that, you're only asking them to spend 10 to 15% of their gross revenue on their business. And if you're like me, and I think you probably are, you can do a lot of stuff. Like the whole reason you're in a group called Building High Value WordPress Sites is because you can build high value WordPress sites. Like you can do SEO and different kinds of marketing and build funnels and drip campaigns and landing pages and lead magnets and all kinds of things, right? It's like those are the types of things that can generate results for clients. So that's where you want to be. You want to be attracting clients who want those outcomes. And then if you find clients that want those outcomes, you can charge dramatically, like 10 times more than you would otherwise be able to charge if you thought they were just getting a cheap website. So that's the thing. And so because of all of those reasons, you don't need to offer training. Like, I don't ever train my clients. And the reason I don't train them is because if they need training, it's going to take years to get to the point where they can actually generate the results to be successful. And they don't even want to do that. They want to keep being doctors, or they want to keep tending to lawns, or doing their mobile detailing service, or being an electrician, or doing real estate, or whatever it is that they do. That's what they don't want to sit around figuring out how to set up funnels and build landing pages and prune an email list and all that. They don't want to do that stuff. They want you to do that stuff. And they want you to do that for 2 reasons. One, they don't know how, they don't want to learn, they're busy doing other stuff. And you will get better results for them because that's your career, right? So that's the idea. You want clients that need results, and then you provide the results, and that's your pathway to a 6-figure business that you can scale there in less than a year. Like literally, like if you start landing these clients and you did one a month, and not even one a month, you basically need probably 6 or 7 clients at this level to be able to get into a 6-figure web design business that you can run on your own. So how long does it take to get 6 or 7 clients? It's almost a client every other month in order to be able to make that happen in less than a year. So if that's sounding like what you want to do, and you're sick of building these $500 sites because it's not even in your client's best interest and you don't want to do it, and it's really just burning everyone out, then let's get on the phone and talk about how to fix your marketing so you can actually attract clients that need outcomes, so that you can then provide the outcomes. And then you've got these high value, long-term clients where you just keep working with the clients on an ongoing basis. You want to change that story of what it means to work with you. You don't want clients that think, well, I'm just going to hire Julia because I just need a quick website, and once she builds a site, she'll hand it to me and then we're done. You want to be in a situation where it's like, hey, I'm going to work with Julia because I need to work with Julia, right? Like on an ongoing basis. She's going to be generating clients for me forever. And that's why I keep paying her, because she's generating these results for me, and I don't want the results to stop. Therefore, I'm going to keep working with you on an ongoing basis. So not only does that create a long-term relationship, think about what that does to the overall business structure that you've got. Now the majority of your time is billable time. So like if you want to maximize your earning potential, the majority of your time needs to be billable time. Because if you have to spend half your time generating leads and the other half your time doing the work, well, you just cut your earning potential in half because you're only billing half your time. But that's going to be the situation that you're in. If you're in a situation where you always have to find another project, and you don't have the recurring revenue structure built into your business, you're always going to get caught on that, that treadmill of just trying to find new leads. And then it's going to be spiky because it's not a consistent flow. Like sometimes people want a bunch of stuff all at once. Sometimes nobody wants anything for a long time. And so that's the inconsistent, that's the feast or famine problem. So by changing the structure to these long-term clients where you're generating results on an ongoing basis for them, you don't have to find leads all the time. The majority of your time is billable, so now you're maximizing your earning potential. Your income is streamlined in the sense that you know what to count on. If you want to give yourself a raise, onboard one more client if you want to. If for whatever reason the client has to quit, then you're still cool because you still have the other 6 or 7 or 8 clients and you're in the mix. Bring in one more client and you're back to where you are. So you're just in control of your business. You're in control of your cash flow and you're valuing yourself at a much higher level, which just feels good. It feels good to be able to drive results for people. It feels crappy to think, man, I just trained somebody how to do my whole job in 3 hours. What am I even doing? Right? So it's like, that's where you want to be. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, but you're thinking, well, I don't really know how to find those types of clients or how to present myself that way, or I don't know what to say on my website so I don't sound exactly like everybody else. I don't know how to make that shift into like outcome-driven marketing, and instead you just keep marketing your services. Then let's get on the phone and talk about it. Like head over to doublestack.net/call and you'll see my calendar pop up and we can get on the phone and talk to each other one-on-one right there. Totally free. We'll get on the phone for like 45 minutes and we'll dive into it. And we'll say, well, what types of clients do you normally work with? And what do you feel like your best skills are? Because what we want to do is we want to combine all the stuff that you do the best, because that's going to be your most valuable thing, as opposed to people asking you to do stuff that you could do, but it's not really your forte. It's not what you do the best, but you can charge the most for the stuff you do the best, of course, right? So let's get you into that situation where you've got an offer that bundles together all the stuff you do the best. It drives the best outcomes for your clients. Therefore, they're happy. You're happy. Everybody wins. And you're building this awesome 6-figure web design business that you can run on your own. And that's what DoubleStack is all about. So head over to doublestack.net/call. You'll see my calendar pop up and we'll get on the phone and dive into this stuff together. Right after you pick that spot on my calendar, though, you'll see another really important part, which is there's an application. It just has like 4 or 5 questions where you tell me a little bit more about your business, give me a link to your website so I can check that out. Just tell me what's going on a little bit so I can be prepared for the conversation when we get on the phone. And that way we can make the best use of our time together. So head over to doublestack.net/call and we'll have this happen. So, and again, it's going to be me. So when you schedule a call on that calendar, you're going to be talking specifically to me. I'm not going to get anybody else to call you. It's going to be you and me, because that's the whole point of this whole thing, is to get you and me connected. So you're building up this awesome 6-figure business. So doublestack.net/call, find a time that works for you. I apologize if there's not tons of times available because it is just me. It's my personal calendar and I can only do so many calls during the day, right? So head over there, grab a spot while you can, and I look forward to talking to you.